welcome to episode 34 of the PT Performance Podcast. And we're doing something a bit different today. We're off the Zoom calls. We're in a live space down here at EMF Performance and Recovery Center in Nerang. This is the golf room. I'm not going to bother showing you around because currently it's also got a bit of storage in here. But I'm here with my man, Brett Nugent. Brett is one of the PTs down here, and he's got a great story and a great journey as a personal trainer that I think a lot of people will relate to. And also give some guidance and some motivation to you out there. If you're just kicking off as a PT or if you've been around the game for a little while, I think you're going to get a lot out of this call. So Brett, mate, take it away. Why don't you give us a bit of an intro, tell us about you. Okay,
so I'm a Kiwi. I've come over to this beautiful land in Australia full of opportunities in 1999. Done a bit of work through factory jobs, the mining industry, spent 9 years there. Back into factory jobs, started having kids, so I wanted to be home for them. And then slowly realized, I think at the age of 46, 47, that I wasn't really living out my passion in life, which was something to do with fitness and some form of active service. So listening to a lot of podcasts while I was at my last job at a boat building company. And a lot of things just sort of led me to finding out what my passion was and how to make that as a form of income. And just the signs pointed to being a personal trainer. So started reaching out to, I think, the local Jets, even Good Life, went there for an interview. And then a friend of mine at my job at the boat building factory said, "Oh, have you seen this clip about this new gym opening up?" And I watched Scotty Freeman walk around an empty lot, which used to be Masters. And I think the key thing was this massive outdoor area, which really tickled my fancy because I was training outdoors pretty much all the time with my primal movement. And I think I just went, this is it. This is the spot. I'm going to make that outdoor area my home. Sent an email, got an email back from Chris Mooney saying, "Yeah, man, I'll show you around the joint." He took me around and he's like, "If you're keen, we're going to have a meeting of PTs." And I was like, "Okay, sweet," thinking it was like a job interview. And then came in and met up with a bunch of PTs, and I totally felt out of my depth. I was like, "Oh man, everyone knows a lot more than me. I'm just a guy." At the time, I was running movement classes in Pacific Pines just once a week. So that little step gave me a little bit of confidence to say, yeah, I'm a group fitness instructor. But yeah, I entered the world of personal training, and boy, oh boy, what a self-development tool running your own business was. Something I was passionate about. So I was investing time into people, and I felt like I had a lot of knowledge to offer. But there was a whole background story of running a business that was a massive, and still is a learning experience. But I will never, I know as an old man on his deathbed, I will never regret my 3.5 years at EMF. It's been amazing.
That's epic. And I'll take it back a little bit. You know, you've just mentioned how you were getting into PT and all this sort of stuff. You're at a Jets, but something to I guess dig a bit deeper in is your outdoor stuff, right? So I remember when you came on board, I was recruiting for a new team, brand new facility, something that hasn't been done before in Australia, let alone here on the Gold Coast. It was, what we now know as the EMF Nerang. If you've been here, you understand. If you haven't, you're missing out. It's one of the biggest and best fitness facilities in Australia. It's got recovery, outdoor pools, plunge pools, outdoor training center. It's got fucking everything. It's amazing. Yeah. So when we were building a team to launch this brand new facility, we needed a mix of everybody. It wasn't an established gym where we wanted a bodybuilding team, or we wanted a body transformation trainer, or we wanted, like a reps and sets counter. We thought, okay, well, look, we have all these different modalities of training. We've got all these different features. We need a bit of everybody. And one of the things that stood out about you, I think from memory, one of the photos I saw, whether it was on your resume or maybe I stalked you when I read it, was you with a big fucking mohawk, big spiky mohawk in one photo. And then the other one looked like you'd fallen out of the airplane and landed crooked on the ground. But that was just one of your animal poses, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So I was like, good, this guy's a mobility guy. This guy is someone who's going to be able to teach people how to move freer and better. And it was something that I had no real understanding of, but a great appreciation of, if that makes sense, the zoo culture, the animal movement stuff. So as someone who is a proud washed up meathead, I'm very strong and very agile and mobile in my set plane of movement. But I found out pretty quickly doing some shit with you that wasn't very mobile or very agile at all. More like as agile as a train.
Yeah.
Right. As long as I'm on the tracks, I was all good. But you get off that track, it's game over.
Yeah.
So having someone like Brett come along, and I remember one of the challenges for you was, and don't get it twisted, he's a beast on the gym floor as well. Like you know your way around dumbbells, reps and sets. It's just not your main motivator.
Yeah, well, it's starting to come back full circle. Actually.
That's right. Yeah. I remember at the time having conversations with Brett, and he was trying to niche too soon into just being just the movement guy.
Yes.
Right. And we were saying to him, look, people come to the gym to, especially here on the Gold Coast, it's muscles first, and it's outcome benefits and all the rest of it usually comes second. And the challenge for us at the time was to get you on the floor, to engage with them where they are, to then bring them back to where you can be of more benefit, right? And as a start-off personal trainer, this is something that I see a lot. There's a lot of people out there that are selling these marketing and business coaching courses for PTs about niching in, being a master at your craft and being the niche person and being the specialist, which is fucking good and it's real, but not from day one.
Yeah.
It has to take time. People have to know you got to build your brand, build your reputation. And in a commercial fitness setting, you've got to show them that you know what they want you to show them first, right? You got to show them that you can help them lose weight. You got to show them you can help them get a bit stronger. I always say it comes down to two things. People join a gym for two things and only two things. No matter what, they all come down to these two things. And that is to look good and to feel good. Now, if they were to train with you doing specifically just what you do, they will look good and they will feel good. But in their mind, a treadmill makes them feel good. A bench press makes them look good. So you've got to segue that across. But I know once you sort of tapped into that, and you can tell us more about that on this episode clearly, but once you sort of cross that barrier, then you started getting a bit more inquiry your way, right?
Yeah. You just sort of highlighted almost a fear of me walking around the weights area.
Yeah.
Because my background was obviously prior to that, a lot of primal movement and body weight training. And prior to that was CrossFit, five years there. So the functional training area, I would float around. And then martial arts and kickboxing back in the 90s as a young 20-something-year-old. So my classes were built around that. And I took on a lot of classes. I had a good sort of message from a friend to say, do classes, Brett. That's where people are going to find out who you are.
Yeah.
So I think I took on something like 12 classes a week. And it was CrossFit, functional training, boxing classes. And I tried to get primal movement happening, but it really wasn't a well-known thing. And I think even though that was kind of like, Brett looks good at that, it was a lot of people probably standing back going,
a lot of doubt, a lot of self-doubt.
There's no way I'm going to be doing that.
That's right. Yeah.
So I probably, used it as a nice sort of, hey, look at me, I can do this stuff at my age. But like you say, it comes back to basics with what people want. And it is feel good and look good. And sometimes you've got to pull away from what you know best to go into the generalist mode and go into the weights area, maybe yoga, something that's going to transfer over. A lot of yogis transferred over to primal movement.
Yeah, because it's almost like, and I'm probably going to upset some yogis. Not that I think many yogis would watch my shit, but it's kind of like street cred yoga. You know what I mean? Nice primal stuff is more like it's yoga, but with a bit of street cred. Yeah, like a bit of alphaness attached to it.
Yeah, I constantly say to the yogis, it's nice. I love the appreciation of having your body in those positions, but you're stuck on that damn mat.
That's right.
Where's the fun? Where's the exploration?
And how does that work out in the park? How does that work in the lounge room with your kids?
Exactly.
It'd be more like, hey, don't touch me. I'm in my whatever pose.
Yeah.
Whereas the primal stuff, the animal stuff you do it incorporates the kids. I see you do a lot of stuff with your kids and makes it super fun.
Yeah. That was an amazing journey. That coming out of an injury from CrossFit with 2 herniated discs, and just decided to stop lifting heavy stuff to chase numbers, and was playing with primal movement just before I sort of had my accident, and then decided to move into it, using yoga actually as a lot of a rehab or trauma release because my body was locked up, and then experimenting with primal movement more. And then, that magic moment of going, my exercise foundation, my kids love it when I do it with them.
Yeah.
So CrossFit was, I want to be a fit dad, but my kids didn't care that I could deadlift 180 kilos.
Especially if it meant you couldn't play with them on the weekend.
Exactly, I was off to CrossFit and I'm coming back and I'm like, dad's fit, but he's pretty sore and I've got another workout tomorrow. It wasn't really translatable to them. But primal movement I was learning through GMB Fitness, Animal Flow, Ido Portal, another guy, Ero, what was his Vava Fitness, and just all this different ways to move your body and to go into a kid's playground and see, can I get under this cargo net with these other 3-year-old kids? And my bubba's in there playing, and I loved it, that my mobility time was done at a park with my children, and I was like, this is magic. So yeah, to live that journey and then be able to bring that to a mainstream gym was, for me, it was like I've been doing it for 5 years, but it was kind of unheard of in commercial fitness.
And another thing you brought to a commercial gym was you brought Michael Jackson and Belle Biv DeVoe and the Blackstreet and all that to boxing classes.
Yes.
The hip hop R&B boxing classes, and they were a lot of fun. People enjoyed those.
There's still a little bit of homie in me from my early days, but yeah, I know anything, there's an extra sort of ambiance or element to it when music's added. And if you can bring that into a rhythmic sort of exercise mode, people will push themselves to not drop out of the beat. So
that's right.
Yeah, I would sort of make that my climax to the class. We would put on an old hip hop jam, and I'd have combos in time with the music, which is funny. Good uppy and Zai from 1-2 workout. Have sort of taken that and nailing that message of music and movement. So I was kind of doing that in short bursts a few years ago with my boxing classes, but classes were a massive lesson in energy.
And we talk about the journey of a PT. We had a bit of a catch up before the show, obviously, and we're talking about how when you first kick off, there's that period of time where, you know, if you're starting raw, you're starting from zero, you got no social media, a brand or sort of following. You don't have any clients that are following you to a new facility. Like some PTs will come along and they'll bring 5, 10, 20 clients with them. When you're starting fresh, you know, we talked about this in the first probably 18 to 20 episodes of this podcast. The things you do to get up and get running, right? Engage with people, provide value, be on the gym floor, make friends, be the mayor of town, so to speak. That's all well and good, but when there's no money coming in or there's little bits of money coming in, it makes it challenging, right? We've just talked about this before, that there is a period of time where that has to happen. It has to happen for a number of reasons. It has to happen a lot for self-development. It has to happen for personal, professional development, but it also has to happen so you know that what it feels like. So when you start to get some wins, you're like, right, I never want to fucking go through those challenges again. So you just don't back off, just like training, right? Just like weight loss and all the rest of it. You get to a point, you're like, well, if I stop now, I'm going back. So we had a good, not even 12 months from when we opened to when the COVID closures came around. So we opened, I'm going to say May 19, 2019.
July 19.
Yeah, it could have been as late as that.
July,
May, June. Anyways, middle of the year 2019. And by the time March the 20th, 2020 come around, for those of you that are in the industry, we're probably all doing the exact same thing. It was a Sunday night. We're watching old ScoMo act like he's everybody's stepfather, trying to give a lecture on the TV about everything. And he turned around and said, right, blah, blah, blah. And at 10 a.m. the following day, all gyms needed to be shut nationwide. Whether you're a small gym, big gym, done. And I remember I was sitting on the couch at home watching it. And I'm like, right, I said to the missus and the kids, I'm going to go sit in front of the laptop for a minute. And they go, oh, what's up? I said, my phone's about to go bananas. And of course, every PT across our organization, their rents come out on a Monday morning. And I just got hammered with text messages, phone calls and emails. What's going on? What's going on? So we had to shut everything down, right? So any momentum you had with classes, any momentum you had with PT sessions, any momentum you had with yourself wasn't tapered off or nothing. It was just done. Everything shut. So I remember it was quite a challenging time for everybody. And we'd spoken probably 4 weeks prior. Tell us about that.
So what, 9 months we're sort of talking about there. So I'd hit that 7 or 8 months. I remember sitting down and asking Mooney, and Simon, I think, was with us. He was running the club at the time, about pulling out of the PT game. I just wasn't making it work financially, and was bringing a bit of stress. I was getting worn out trying to live this PT life of 5 a.m. classes and 6 p.m. classes, trying to cater to these peak hours. And then, I just said, I need to meet with you. I don't think I can do the PT game anymore. And we sat down and you passed on the message that Scott and Lee said, Brett, have a couple of weeks of rent waived so you can sort of get back on your feet. I've made a lot of effort to get to know people here, and obviously,
yeah, to quantify that, you weren't just sitting there going, oh, it's not working. You were hustling, and you were putting your hand up for classes, and you were around everywhere. So I just want to throw that in there, because we know that there are PTs that do fuck all and then cry that it's not working for them. So I wanted to be clear that wasn't the case in your situation. We saw the effort. The feedback from members and staff and other PTs was, Brett's everywhere. Brett's a great part of the team. So
yeah, definitely made an impression with a lot of people here. But I guess I look back now and I see it was my business sense, my lack of sales knowledge, that sort of put me into that space. So when COVID came around after me almost quitting, it was a massive time for a reset for me to say, what am I doing wrong? What does the perfect picture look like of this thing working for me? So yeah, the COVID period, we shut down. And then we came back, I can't remember, 4 months later, 3 months later.
Yeah, I think it was just over 12 weeks, give or take.
Yeah, so came back and I thought, thanks to a lot of support from my wife, to give it another shot and make these hours work. Another thing too, during that time, I jumped on with a business coach from the UK, David Miller. I felt like I needed help. Mooney had done a lot of stuff for me, but there was something about David, a lot of his messages really resonated, and got in contact with him. Did a bit of a free thing where it was a client lead generation program for PTs, and jumped on with him and his fellow coach, and really liked how they delivered it. So decided to jump on as a client with him. And through his guidance and some well-structured modules, I guess you could say, for me to work through, I started choosing the hours of work. I even got to a point I was known as probably one of the best group instructors. Yep. And I felt compelled to a lot of people to provide that service, but financially it wasn't worth me doing 10, 12 classes a week.
Yeah, I mean, you're earning anywhere from $30 to $50 a class. Yeah. For all that effort and all that, delivery of service and experience, and you could be doubling that in a session.
Yeah, and when I think of the times of dinner time and writing down programs on my board for the next class the next morning at 6 a.m. and coming in early to set up equipment, I was fooling myself by thinking I could keep this sort of energy output, and then I'd be there in front of 30 people, like 30 people in the outdoor area. Amazing response to say, oh, there's people out there that like what I do. But man, at the end of that class, I was, I've been yelling, screaming. It wasn't a good, efficient way of spending my energy. So with my coach, made the decision to actually stop all classes. And I made my business centered around one-on-one training. And we figured out a structure of working from 5:30 till lunchtime. And even brought that down to a 4-day working week, where my Wednesday was an admin day. And somehow, thanks to the graces of the universe, the right people came to me. They saw the value in my pricing and service. And I still remember coming out of COVID, I think 2-3 weeks, and I had a full schedule. All these people from my classes were coming over to the one-on-one training.
Yeah, and I think there's, you say thanks to the universe, and sure, I'm a bit about that as well. But I think one thing to be aware of in that is that, you put in the work. Now, does someone have to go through 8 months of struggle to have that revelation? No. But do you have to do some time of struggle? Yeah, because otherwise you don't feel that pain. You won't make that move. A lot of PTs listening will probably hear that last couple of sentences and go, great. All I'm going to do is go from 5 till 12, 4 days a week, and I'll be sweet. And that's good if you've got something people want or know about. But if they don't know who you are, you're just going to have empty sessions in that time. One of the things that Brett did during the COVID shutdown period that he hasn't mentioned yet is we did free Zoom classes for members. And we put on a small timetable. I think we had yourself and 2 or 3 other coaches that made themselves available. And we said, oh, look, members, we're doing this for free. Hey, if you wanted to support the trainers and donate a little bit, here's a link, and we put something up. And everyone was doing it tough, and everyone was scared of what was coming. So, we did that as a see what happens. And it wasn't a bank filler, but I think over the period of time, it was a total of about $300 or $400 split across the 3 of you, I think 3 or 4. But one thing that we kept looking at for Brett in particular, doing the classes was we're going to open again. And when we open, the members that are consistently attending these free sessions, these Zoom classes, they're going to know that you've been there for them. They're going to appreciate that, and they've got a chance because they've got no other choice to train. So they're going to do more of your style of training. And I do recall that we were fortunate in our leadership, made sure that we opened up the minute we could open, not just open up and juggle it and get our shit together. We opened. We had class schedules, we had trainers back on, we had staff back on, we had the club was separated and what's the right word? You know, X amount of zones for X amount of people and all the rest of it. So it was a really efficient opening as best we could. And I do remember at the time, the floodgates opened, right? All the members were coming back, the classes were getting stacked, but yourself, Carolina was another one. The numbers of people asking for them by name went up.
Yeah. I still remember, hopefully he's watching this thing, Sean Lewsome. So a guy in his early 50s that turned up for one of my virtual kickboxing classes. And I could tell he was really nervous, first time sort of doing anything fitness related, I believe. But just that I sat and listened to him after the class for, I don't know, 20 minutes and just heard his story and just knew that fitness was a great medium for him to improve himself. And he'd turn up for these classes, and he's probably the first to admit he wasn't as coordinated, especially giving primal movement a go in his early 50s and being a bit stiff and lethargic, but he stuck at it. And I think he just wanted to get that energy off me and attention.
You give a lot of energy.
And we carried on with online training after that. And then that relationship grew where he started coming to see me at EMF. He even joined the gym to see me. And man, that friendship went on for a year and a half, helped him through a lot of stuff, not only through his fitness, but through his personal life. And that obviously a lot of PTs will know about that counselor for their clients. They've got to be sometimes. But I guess I brought to the table a lot of life experience for a lot of people. And I really do feel like I did it at the right time, that I was 46. I'd had these things happen to me through life. And I really want to hear where people are in their life journey, not I want bigger back or bigger muscles. It's like, yeah, cool, we can do stuff about that. But
why?
How do you talk to yourself?
That's right.
How do you feel about yourself? Okay, cool. I'm not a psychologist, but I know when you're tired and exhausted from a workout, some real talk's going to come out.
That's right.
And
that's afterwards, especially.
Yeah, exactly. That, it's tears. I've seen people cry in workouts, and even coming into a class. I still remember a lady, my boxing class, she turned up quite early and was in tears, just describing what was going on in her life. And for me, I feel like a doctor. It's like, okay, well, for the next 45 minutes, you're going to train, and that problem's still going to be there, but you're going to forget about it. Yeah, and it's just like, that's my little placebo of, I'm going to take that problem away for you for a little bit.
Mate, in a world that's quick to throw prescription meds at those sort of problems, this is the best fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
And again, as my usual saying of sounding like Miss America, that's why we do it, right? That's why we do it.
That's exactly why we do it, man. When I hear people saying I'm on this for that and that for this, and I'm like, oh, okay. Did they ask you about your sleep? Did they ask you about your food? Did they ask you about your exercise program? No. Yeah. It's just, I don't want to get into it, but it's a shame that there's a standard level of ease with how people can attempt to go for help and then receive it via drugs.
Yeah.
When all these natural things that our bodies and our whole ancestry is made for, to sleep, to move, and to eat, haven't even been covered, why are we getting synthetic drugs in there? That's sort of the problem. And it's
I had a friend of mine recently asked me, he goes, I was telling him, we're talking about, my opinion on current world events. He goes, well, what can you do about it? What can you do to take on your big pharma and all this sort of stuff? And I said, what I can do about it is try to create as many successful personal trainers that can survive and turn this into a legitimate career, so they can go and impact as many people as possible. If each trainer that I can help build into a successful trainer can impact hundreds of humans, they therefore go and impact hundreds of people in their inner circles, then hopefully the society needs less of these medications and all the rest of it, because we're putting out the stuff that, now, again, there's clinical reasons. There's some medicines stuff that are obviously required, but we over-medicate. We over-medicate for the things that can be solved with the things you mentioned before: lifestyle, nutrition, movement, and getting our minds in the right position. So look, for PTs listening to this, like we do have, and we are in a position to impact our immediate society and community around us.
Yeah.
And then there's that ripple effect. And everyone talks about, oh, there's there's a PT on every corner, there's personal trainers everywhere. I said, yeah, but not many of them make it because they're chasing different goals, different ambitions. If we all got on the same page and we all said, right, all I want to do is get this human to live a happier, healthier existence, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever it is. And then they go out and have a better home life. And their kids and family and their partners have a better home life. And then everyone they engage with at work or school or in their circle, it is a great thing to be spreading. You know, we talk about a pandemic. That's a fucking pandemic we should be influencing. Yeah. So we got back from COVID. Things started picking up for you.
Yeah. So
that's almost 2 years ago. Oh no, we're past 2 years since we reopened. We've had a couple little mini. I think there was a couple little mini shutdowns, or not so much here on the coast, but Brisbane had some. But in terms of community, people were less likely to. I think there's been a few nervous moments, where PT clients have gone, oh, let me just see what's happening on the news and let me just see what's going on. But even throughout that time, would you say the last 2 years have been pretty good for you business-wise?
Yeah, definitely. I've had my lows, but I can now see why they happen. But I still sort of love the fact that if something's not working, you can fix it as a self running business. And I would have these things, the energy expenditure. So I still see myself as a people pleaser. And I still have work to do with my own stand on core values. I can still be wavered if there's an issue with a payment. I'm still like, oh, let me give you that extra session or something, right? So I've still got work to do personally with that. But to know that I can mold my business to be the hours that I want, to be the structure that I think someone's life should go, not life, but their time with me, to make sure that they're doing things in the gym and outside of the gym, is pretty powerful once you start realizing this is something you can shape. And I see now that going back to a job, it's not something that I really want to do. I see the flexibility in here, and there's a bit of pain to go through to get it how you want to. But in 2 years now, I've slowly worked up to almost that $100,000, whatever. I'm in the 90s, but it's on my terms.
Yeah.
It's doing stuff that I love. I've got these hours from 5 till lunchtime. I'm in a place that just breathes health and fitness. And to know that I can sort of be around that number in this state is like the guy that walked in here 3.5 years ago would never have pictured that.
No, no, I think even coming back out of COVID, that was still a pipe dream for you in terms of could you do it? I mean, not the right words. You could do it, and I think I've been putting that in your ears for the last X amount of years, but you hadn't felt it yet.
Yeah, I realize now my brain loves making things hard.
That's a human trait.
It's a human trait. Like, let's do this with your pricing. Okay, people are probably not going to like the price raise. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, Brett, no problems. It's like, oh, what is going on? I remember our first
letter. Remember we did a letter for you on the first price rise.
Yeah. It's such a hard, so there's a money blockage with me that I still work through now. That money is an inconvenience to take off someone.
For me, it was the same. When I first started PTing, I got told that even back in early 2000s, my $40 a session was too low.
That's right.
And I remember him saying, bump it to 80. And I'm like, that's double. He goes, if half your people drop off, you're in the same situation.
Yeah,
but you've got more time to build your business.
Yeah.
And it sounds so easy coming from a guy who I looked up to and was making way back then some pretty heavy money.
Yeah.
And I remember driving home that day, giving myself all the excuses. Oh, he doesn't understand. Oh, he's not a personal trainer. Oh, he's already sweet. He's making $250K a year, you know, like blah, blah, blah. Like it's an easy thing for him to say. And I got through all the excuses on my 25-minute drive home. And I got into my little office home, and this is old, 2003. And I remember going on the computer and I typed up my little letter and I printed it out on my little fucking old printer. And I took it back into work and I ran it through the photocopy because I couldn't afford to keep pumping out the printer. So I took one. It was cheaper to photocopy for me. And I remember I did all that and I handed it out to people and I had no one drop off.
I love it.
No one drop off. And it was the biggest people call it aha moment because it's super trendy to say that, but it was my biggest moment of going, fuck, like it was that simple, right? People valued what we do. People get a great experience in those sessions. You know, they don't just walk out of there going, oh, I just spent, you know, we've all done it. You go spend more than you would want to on a meal, and you walk out there going, man, I just spent $180 on a minute on a meal for the family. We could have got that for $60.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're giving a great value, if you're giving great service, if you're giving a good experience each and every time, people will pay whatever you ask.
Yeah. And it's not even, I know it took a while, but it's not about that hour with them. It's how much of an impact you're having outside. So, you know, a simple phone call the day after. How was your session yesterday? How's the body? Cool. Even a quick phone call the day before. See you tomorrow. Make sure you get good sleep tonight. Just these are little things that can be 2 minutes that are service.
It is the personal part of personal trainer. It is the biggest thing. And in 2022, which is what it is now, we have more access to technology. We can literally be in front of someone on a video call in a split second anywhere around the world with little to no lag. Yet we do less of this. In my experience with most PTs, until they figure it out, they do less of this now than we did 20 years ago. 20 years ago, on my little Nokia brick, I'd be texting people, same deal. Hey man, see you on Wednesday. Enjoy that racetrack, horse race you're going to. Remember, eat this before you go so you don't pig out on the deep fried shit. You know, have your protein shake before you go out to that buffet tonight so you don't become a pig. And you know, it's those little things. You've heard me bang on about it here at EMF. We do inductions. What's the things I say to do before an induction? Text confirmation, run the induction, text them, thank them for coming the day after. Why would you do that? One, no one else is doing it. Two, it's service. We are providing a service. That person you're dealing with, one day you're going to ask them for a premium fee to train them. You want them to think that you are a premium service operator. It starts from before you engaged as a client. You can't get them as a client and then try to deliver that service. Right? Because you're going to be relying on other ways to get that client. Start the service over here. Things you post on social media, interactions with phone calls, text messages, walking the gym floor. How many clients have you picked up that have come to you after just watching you walk the gym floor and engaging with people?
Oh, countless.
Classes. Classes. PTs, if you're in an opportunity, if you're outside of EMF and you have an opportunity to take group fitness, do it. It's the best way for them to get to know, like, and trust you in a safe environment where they're getting it for free. And then they get to see what kind of a coach you are. They get to see if you're a good fit. It's a test drive.
It is. It's almost time to shine when you're doing a class.
It's the best. You're literally time to shine. You're on show.
I think, you know, through my coach as well, is to use those. And I always used to think, oh man, I'm getting this much for this class. But you can flip that thinking around that, you know, your gym are paying you to bring a bunch of people in front of you and go, here's some leads. Hold on, say that again. The gym is paying you to give you a bunch of people who could be possible clients. Oh, okay, that doesn't sound too bad. So I reframed my way of thinking with classes. And then I started sort of using a technique of finding someone that either I see didn't have a good movement or a good breathing pattern or posture, or didn't really know what they were doing, or an injury or something like that, and really target that one person and maybe go up to them 2 or 3 times and say, how's that knee? Good. Try and fire the hips faster with your kettlebell swing, because you're going to transfer the weight to your lower back if you're too slow. Go back to them. Cool. And then, how was that? Did you find that? And if they respond with a bit of enthusiasm, well, I do free sessions if you want to take this further, and I can show you even more. And bang, that if you did that with one person with every class, even every 2 classes, it really does show that there's value in the class rather than the dollar amount that you might be getting for it. But yeah, it got to a point where I had so many classes and so many people knew me. And it's even really happened in this last 3-4 months that people just, oh, are you Brett? Yeah.
Man, I remember when you were going to drop off a bunch of classes. And we had some members email us. Oh, Brett's a great instructor. Man. He's really sensational, and he's leaving the classes behind to focus on his PT. Can you guys pay him more so he can continue doing the classes? We think he's that good. I remember writing back to someone saying, hey, I totally agree he's that good. Work with him yourself. Like, pay him directly. If he's creating that much impact and he's giving you that much value, go deal with him directly. You know?
Yeah, that was highly flattering, but it really does come back to how they value you.
Yeah.
And if they're going to come to your classes for free, awesome. And I guess invest their time in you, then they've got to realize that you're a business.
That's right.
You're not just here to provide a service
for
EMF or for a gym.
I'd like a helicopter one day. I would love my own private helicopter, but I can't afford one. So for now, I'll pay someone else to take me for little joy flights just to feel it. You know,
exactly.
Same vibe.
Yeah. If you want, and I say this, I've made a post recently to really sit back and see what that one person is doing for a massive group of people. They are, if they're doing their job well, they are creating a vibe and energy. They're looking after their health and safety. They're creating an environment where they can be safe, and then hopefully educate them and empower them. Like, that's a lot that someone's doing that you go, awesome, see you next week, and I'm not giving you anything. So I don't expect people to give you anything as an instructor, but for those watching that are sort of gym members and regularly go to an instructor, just know that that person's putting in that much time with everyone there, and man, maybe give them something, whether it's a piece of cake. And I've had that. I've got a lovely old lady that brings me a bit of cake now and then, and I love it. For me, any sort of gift means that they're thinking of me outside of the gym. So
like the first level of that is they're turning up.
Yeah,
you're like, well, you're giving me your time and you appreciate what I do, and that's fantastic. But you're right, you know, you bring so much. Instructors do bring so much. Trainers bring so much to people's lives. No one's asking for gold chains and keys to the city, but if you're just a regular member, not a PT or someone that is somehow come across this, show some love. The guys give a lot for it.
Or something.
Give voucher, holiday to Bali.
It's
better still, say, hey, listen, man, I'm getting a lot out of your classes. How do I work?
I mean, that's
better than a voucher.
And don't be shy that I know a lot of people ask, how much are you an hour? And that may scare people off, but it really comes down to what they're offering outside of the session. And if they say phone calls or apps, or I'll structure a workout just for you based around this injury, you know that they're at home on a keyboard doing something that's not within that hour to tweak something that suits you. You've really you're not committed to these long programs. Hopefully a trainer gives you a sort of length of contract that's okay, it was good, but not good, I can pull it out. But really it comes back to that trainer providing almost too much service that you're like, I can't live without this person in my life. And I've been fortunate enough to have clients for, years almost, multiple sessions a week. When I think of Victoria, who was with me for over a year, 3 sessions a week, and her journey with her health and fitness is just humbling to me that my main thing was for her to leave, or any of my clients to leave, happier than when they walked in. And that was my main goal. And sure, there were some sessions where I felt like a rep counter, but then I would dive into what do they need out of this, not the workout, but this time with me. And
the workout's got to happen anyway, right? You wrote the program, they've showed up, you're at the gym, the equipment's in front of you, the workout's going to happen anyway.
It's typically a shoulder to lean on, or an ear that's listening to what's going on in their lives.
And it's a similar analogy I've used before with cars, right? If I got a $10,000 Hyundai i30, right? It's got aircon, it's got power steering, it's got wheels, windows, seats, comfortable enough. I'm going to get from here to Brisbane if I want to. It's going to take me the same 50 minutes to get there. Or I could go spend $150,000 and get a new Beamer or an Audi or a big truck, whatever you're into. Aircon, power steering, tires, chairs, window. It's still going to get you there, right? But it's the experience on the way. Why would someone spend 100 grand on a car when they could get it for 10? They could get 10 cars for the cost of one. It's how it makes you feel. It's that status. It's that prestige. It's that feel good, look good. People are willing to pay for it. And when PTs figure that out and they provide the nice leather seats versus the vinyl ones, they provide the big color touch screen versus the dial. They provide the 20-inch rims versus the hubcaps. Like, when you figure that shit out, people will pay and they'll pay handsomely for it. And not only will they pay that, they'll tell everyone else how fucking cool your car is.
Yeah.
And they want to get one as well.
Yeah, I've definitely had some referrals this year that's been very flattering, just through word of mouth and seeing people's confidence change with their physique, and then someone that they know
Recognizes
wants
that.
to see, how did you do that? Who's this person you're training with?
Yeah.
So I've really got to sit back and pat myself on the back.
No, you don't
Sometimes
want
it's
that.
hard to validate when I'm constantly thinking of the next thing, but I've definitely helped change some lives and maybe even save some lives.
Yeah.
It's been an awesome experience.
What's 3 key things you would suggest, or you would implore a new personal trainer to be about at the start of their journey? Because most people who are listening to this PT performance podcast are in their first 0 to 12 months. Some of them are a little bit beyond that 12 months, but for the most part, it's people starting to find their feet as a trainer. What are 3 key things you'd say, hey, listen, young fella, young girl, young lady, whatever, these are 3 things you need to master ASAP?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when you're first starting out, unfortunately, that perfect day that, I want to be working 3 days a week and on this sort of rate, it's nice to have clarity or vision of your future, but you've really got to stretch yourself both with time and energy. I feel like, obviously not work when you don't want to work, but to be a little generous, like I think you've mentioned. If I've got a 40 hours that I'm going to dedicate to this, I've got an empty book, I'm still doing 40 hours.
100%.
And that doesn't mean in the gym. It can be in the gym, but when I'm getting the bread, I'm saying hi to the guy behind the counter.
Actively driving 40 hours.
You're training this muscle of, I could say hi to this person or I could not. But the more you learn that there's something in here that just says, just say hi and see what happens. That now for me is, I can almost not say hi to people that I don't know. And I learned that here, that I'm just, hey man, nice shirt. It doesn't even have to be about fitness.
Yeah, that's right.
And you've got your whole life to train that with, of being approachable and what's the word? And intending to know someone, not just
And I think I've said this to you. I've said it to heaps of people. It's like, give a fuck. Actually give a fuck about people. Don't just do throwaway lines and stuff. I don't look like an approachable guy most of the time. So I have to go out of my way to engage in conversations. And I'm aware of that. So I set myself some goals to go through the supermarket, make eye contact with someone and just do that. Hey, what's going on, man? How's your day?
Yeah.
And they always weird and they always look away and get nervous, but I wasn't doing it for them, even though they get something from that, whether that's confusion or paranoia. I do it for me so that I get used to smiling and having conversations with people. It's called outreach, right? Yeah. You're at the supermarket. What usually happens at the supermarket? Hey, how are you? Good. Beep. Do you need bags? Yes, thanks. Beep. Beep. And you just stand awkwardly, right?
Yeah.
How about have a conversation? Hey, how's work?
Yeah.
How long are you on for today?
Yeah,
has it been busy?
There you go.
And it is another skill and it's another tool that you can get really good at using. And that transfers to the petrol station.
Yeah.
It transfers to social settings. It transfers to the supermarket, and it transfers, and this is the best part, to the gym.
Yeah.
A lot of PTs struggle with that and they go, I'm just nervous. Man, what the fuck are you nervous about? This is your home. You actively come here to serve people and to help people so that you can build a business, and you're too shy to go and say hello.
Yeah. So I guess
first one, we just get out amongst it.
Is just, meet people. I mean, the power of the word hello. That's basically what it comes down to. Yeah. Get used to saying hello, especially the people you don't want to say hello to, because you have no idea who they are or what they are.
That's a great point. Get away from the people that you're comfortable talking to.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't go and engage with the meatheads and the big guys, because that's an easy conversation. Yeah. It's a comfortable chat.
Yeah.
Find the old lady, find the old guy that's got his head down and doesn't want to engage with people. Find the young dude that's struggling. Yeah.
Secondly, I spoke about when you first start, you may have to do these early mornings and these evenings, but a good thing I think to feel out for yourself is your energy when it's at its best in the day, right? So are you that early morning person? Are you late at evening where you're peaking? Are you having afternoon naps, or just finding out when you're almost in flow state?
Yeah.
And that usually means good night's sleep, good nutrition, your exercise, and there's almost an endorphin wave riding. So you're figuring out maybe 10 a.m. that's when my body's awake. I've done my workout, done my breakfast, done my walk, done my meditation, whatever. Right about 9 or 10, I could say hi to anyone. So that would probably be a great time to get out on the floor, and you've done all these things. You feel that sense of achievement, and just use that as a what's the word? A morale booster for yourself to get past the shyness. So energy. And when do I want to go to bed? When do I want to do business? Yeah. So you may have to stretch on those hours, but figure out where your energy works. And I've now learned for me that this 5 to 12 is good. And I'm even still trying to work on this little afternoon nap thing that I know is coming down to riding insulin waves from sugars and mockers. Yeah, find out. If I said, give me your best 4 hours of the day when you're at your peak and feeling good, that's when you're on the floor, and give that good energy to these people around here.
Let them feel it.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that too, because I just posted something on my IG a couple of days ago that you can still build a successful PT business from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Oh yeah,
right?
I saw that post,
if you're not a morning person and the gym's full of PTs and they're full of members and the mornings are jacked and busy, and that's just not your vibe, it's going to be tough for you to overcome that. Sleep in. Do what you said. Get your nutrition, get your workout, come in at 3 o'clock. I can tell you right now, you could walk into any gym. We're recording this now at 7 p.m. on a Friday. I can almost fucking put a large sum of money on that we could walk into any gym on the Gold Coast tonight, and you might find up to 5 personal trainers across 30 fucking gyms currently working with anyone on the floor right now.
Yeah.
So if you're a PT and you're thinking, well, you know what, I'm going into a facility that has 20 personal trainers or 30 personal trainers, how do I fit in? My tip would be go in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Build an afternoon business. And I guarantee the people that I see training, I'm an 8 p.m. trainer. That's when I work out. There's money here. There's people here that need assistance. There's plenty of people walking around, and there's not a PT in sight. So don't feel you've got to do the early mornings thing.
Yeah. I'm still I've got that 5:30 slot. I find I'm pretty good there, but I know as I'm actually aging and maybe getting a little tired as I approach 50, that I need to nudge that now to maybe a 6:30 start.
Mate, you're about to go back to New Zealand. You're going to nudge that shit to 10 a.m.
Yeah. So the move to New Zealand means basically a blank canvas. So I'm very interested to see. There's some opportunities I'm tapping into already, but when
we'll come back to number 3.
Yes,
I took you off track. Number 3.
Okay, so energy, the power of the word hello and getting yourself out there. Number 3, interesting. Number 3.
Think back. What's some of the stuff that was the glue that kept your shit together?
Oh man, if you're a brand new PT starting out, and you've mentioned this in your performance podcast, and we've seen it with some PTs that have left already that just started, is you've got to prepare financially. It's not a clock on, clock off job. And it comes back to how much you value yourself. People will see that, and how much service you provide. So if this is a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 month thing that you're trying to shape and figure out for yourself, which was for me, you need to know that there's a possibility of not much, if any, money coming in.
Yes.
So highly recommend. I think you've thrown some numbers around of, 10 grand stashed away, to just know that the bills are paid. Because when you do get that financial stress, and it'll come, and I've had it several times, that it will affect your energy on the floor. So if you can give it your best and know that bills are paid for 6 months and you figure that out, that is the best preparation for you to really dig into your first 6 months.
That's good. I think and there's a lot of people out there, they'll say the good old burn the boats, right? Go all in. And I think for most people that is for most people that is sound advice. I'm a big believer of, and because I lived it as well, if you've got good time management and good self-discipline, you may be able to hold a second job while you build up. But there needs to be a time frame. I'm going to work this second job for 10 weeks. On this date here, big circle, big X on that day, that's the last fucking day I do that job. And there's nothing going to stop me continuing in that role. So then you've got and again, I'm saying this coming from someone who was already a father at the time I kicked off my PT career. If you don't have that, then you can definitely do it a different way.
Yeah.
But point being, finances need to be sorted, whether you're earning it as you're going with a proper plan and a strategy, not using it as a piggyback, or you've got some financial backing, you've saved, you've done the hard work, and now you're going in.
Yeah.
That all I would sum up as number 3 being get your business administration fucking sorted.
Yeah.
That's your time management, that's your scheduling, that's your financials.
Yeah.
Get it all sorted, because that financial and administration stress can be the biggest mindfuck when you don't know where your next lead's coming from because you don't have a process.
Yeah.
You don't know how much money you're going to earn next week because you're not scheduling shit in. You don't even have a diary set up. You're just winging it as you go. And we're both laughing at this and saying it because, one, we've done elements of it ourselves, and 2, we've seen it over and over and over.
I still remember starting and taking client sessions in my journal. Hello, I had a double booking, and a client was on the treadmill watching me train another person. I hadn't even gone to Google Calendar. It was just, I was that old
They
school.
messaged you, wasn't it?
Yeah, she sent a message that was, she was fairly
disappointed.
really heartbroken. And I really felt it because I knew her predicament. And she was a middle-aged sort of lady.
I remember this.
And yeah, I fully refunded her entire package. She'd done sessions with me already, but I just reimbursed her for everything. And I still remember good old Josh, who's a previous guest, saying, "Granddad," that was his nickname for me. You've got to get on a calendar system, man. Get digital. You've got to. And this is only 3.5 years ago. It's not as a Google Calendar or Apple Calendar was around, but I had never used a time management structure digitally. It was
just straight in the diary.
It was go to work, go home, train, live the life. I don't need a calendar for that. But when you're running a system built on time, you better be good at it before you hope that you can survive off it.
And it's one of the first apps I tell people to get. You can just get the free Google Calendar. You can go on Calendly and pay for that. So you've got some automations attached to it. There's other ones now, Acuity and others, that connect to your fucking Instagram page. Like there's so many tools out. This is why I keep saying it's never been easier in the history of humankind to build a successful business, let alone personal training business, but it's never been easier, right? It's very fucking simple to be a successful, impactful, financially well-off personal trainer. The challenge is it's not easy.
Yeah.
The system is simple. The application is hard.
Yeah.
So we all know, a lot of PTs post the motivational quotes and all the other shit. What do they say about hard? Nothing worthwhile is easy.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing worthwhile is easy. It can be simple, but it's not easy. Right? So the 3 tips that Brett's just giving you there are all simple tips.
Yeah.
The execution, however, is going to be challenging. It's going to be a bit difficult. It's going to be hard at times, but do you want fucking easy or do you want success?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, it's the most powerful self-development tool is running your own business to say,
agreed.
I've got issues with sales presentations. They feel icky. Cool. It's nothing about the price or the person you're selling it to that they're in a predicament with money. It's about you not valuing what you're offering.
That's right.
And if you can't stand strong in that, well, then, every sales presentation is going to
you got to do some work on that.
So you've got to find out what's that blockage about. Saying hello to people. Is it natural or isn't it? Why? Is there some judgment from them that you're worried about? It's another deep layer to go into.
That's
that.
Right.
Why don't I feel so good about myself that I can't walk up to a stranger and say hi? So man, just massive psychological things revealed while running this business. And it's tiring, but this is work. This is inner work as well as something you're giving out to people.
It's a big reason why when I work with PTs, I don't really look at sales scripts, lead generation script, referral strategies straight away. First of all, it's like, well, who are you? What do you want out of this? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? The guys I work with outside of EMF, we do a self-assessment tool. And the first 3 or 4 questions are sleep, mood, nutrition, like how are all these things? Because it doesn't matter. I can give you the golden standard of sales script. If those things aren't aligned, you're not going to use that script. And if you do, you're going to be reading it like it's the first time you've read something every single time.
Yeah.
So you've got to get those things, man. And it's awesome. Let's talk about where to from here.
Yeah. So winding up end of December or end of the year, and then moving to New Zealand to live. So based around just with our parents, my wife and I's parents, can I say that like that? Getting into their 80s with some health issues that we want to be closer to them. And I think with the lack of access to our family with the COVID shutdown, it's like, okay, the life here is amazing. We're doing well. I feel like I've got the groove I want in my business, but priorities again. And we want to give them a bit of a thanks. You know, if I say to people, if I was an old man and my kids said, Dad, we want to move closer to you, it'd be just the biggest thank you from them to me. So doing that for our parents, and also a lot of personal stuff with finding out about my family history. This is all sort of coming to fruition this year with finding out about my mum's father's family. So there's a massive adventure there to explore. We've already connected with some of them. What else is there? I feel like with the Gold Coast lifestyle, and you don't have to live this lifestyle, but I feel like for me in the past few years, coming into the gym and it's bam, lights, music. Oh, I walked into a floor of 100 people at 5 a.m. in the morning, that the brain is very stimulated. And I'd like to see if there's a business model that I can sort of just tone down the stimulation, whether it's me coaching people online, which I'm already sort of organizing with clients, maybe moving into community work or youth work in the local community. I know it's some form of act of service. I know it's people. I know I want it to be to do with some form of activeness and movement. And it's really coming back to overall quality of life. Yeah. So these are sort of some pillars that I'm trying to shape what my business looks like. But the tools I've learned from here that, you know, like I said, that first one, if you're too afraid to say hi to a stranger, you're going to always be giving yourself blockages. Now that I've learned that here, that the person that's across the counter at the shopping mall, if I'm afraid of them, man, somehow it's the best exercise for me to go and say hi. And I'm going to do that in a community of people that don't know who I am and don't know what I've got to offer.
Dude, it's people say to me, oh, how do we get over this anxiety? How do I get over this fear? It's like, man, the only way to get through anxiety and fear is to take action.
Yep.
Whatever it is, right? I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a quote is, if we can just wrestle that fear from standing in front of us and put it behind us to drive us forward.
Yeah.
So instead of looking at it as a blockade, put it behind you and go, well, if I don't stop, if I don't keep moving forward, that thing's going to catch me.
Yeah. Exactly.
So go forward. So you're feeling anxious, nervous, shy, whatever that thing is that's causing it, act on it right then and there.
Yeah.
Man, I've got to make these calls. Oh, they're not going to pick up the phone. Oh, they will pick up the phone and they probably won't want dial.
Yeah.
Dial the number, make the fucking phone call, walk the gym floor, talk to the person.
Yeah, listen to some David Goggins and he'll tell you that this brain is your best enemy and your best ally. You just got to figure out when it's doing its job, which job.
Just make sure there's another one, use your boss voice to drown out the bitch voice. Right? The bitch voice is the one go, we'll do it later.
Yeah.
Oh no, you know what? You know, it's they all look really busy on the gym floor. I don't want to interrupt their workout, is the bitch voice. The boss voice goes, you've got something they need, go fucking talk. Go and have a conversation.
Yeah. And you know, finding that you find a bit of a groove with that, and all of a sudden, like I think for me here, I still remember you talking about you being the mayor of Broadbeach, right? Yeah. That stuck with me. And that was really, I think that was possibly in our first PT meeting. Yeah. That I kind of want to be this guy that people know who he is, what he does. And even if they don't need my services, they may know someone. So
no, like, and trust.
Yeah, no, like, and trust.
If there's no like and trust, you don't have to sell a fucking thing.
Yeah.
If you've got no like and trust, people will buy and refer people to buy from you.
And with all those classes that I've done, I see that they took out energy from me, but the ripple effect from those has been like people who have left the gym. And the whole year they've come back and it's, Brett, I need a change and I want you. And it's like, I'm on Messenger, bloody, I don't know, maybe even scrolling and a message comes through, Brett, time for a change and I want you as my trainer. And it's like, oh, this is that moment where you're like, I think all the work that is behind me is starting to show the fruit and I can just the apple that I want. And it's like,
it's a great
wow.
analogy, because can you fucking pick an apple from the seed you planted last month?
Yeah, exactly.
It takes time, right? You got to nurture it, you got to let it grow, you got to feed it with nutrients and water, and then harvest the fruit. Same with business, same with being a PT.
Yeah, so that was huge, and I try to take that through life now. That the power of word of that hello, and you know, even on the gym floor, just in the past couple of days, said hello to a guy on a machine, and then said another hello, and then 2 days later, or 2 days ago, he said, "Brett, I want you to train my daughter. What's your number?" And honestly, this is a guy I've never really met, but I said good day to him, and he got some of my energy, and it's like, wow. And it's like, is it that easy? No, it's not. When you look at the big picture,
It's that
no,
simple.
it's not. But
It's that simple. It's just not that easy.
Yeah. What goes around comes around. You've just got to be patient enough to see the fruit appear.
Yeah, and guys who listen to me, it's I stole this phrase. It's aggressive patience. The time has to pass. Whether it's a month, 2 months, 6 months, 12 months, the time has to pass. What you do when that time is passing dictates the outcome. Yeah. Right. Hey, I want to lose weight in 12 weeks. All right. Well, 12 weeks starts now. And in 12 weeks time is going to be that deadline. What are you doing in between? You can do a little bit. You can half-ass it. You can give yourself excuses, or you can fucking go. You can say hello to as many people every day. You can provide value to as many people every day. You can provide a fantastic experience to every person that you engage with every single day.
You can.
And at the end of that 12 weeks, the difference between the first person doing fuck all or the person doing a little bit each day, the end result is going to be significantly different and more stacked in favor of the person that chases after it.
Yeah.
Mate, where can people follow you when you're what's your social?
Okay, so Brett Nugent PT on Instagram, Brett Nugent PT on Facebook. If you're interested in remote coaching or even just a chat online, I'm definitely open to that. I'm moving to New Zealand, but we'll be continuing my online coaching service.
And for PTs that want to learn the primal movement, the animal flow sort of stuff, Brett's, I highly recommend him. He's someone you could reach out to through those channels as well and learn a bit more about
that. I'm even considering doing online workshops for PTs around primal movement or any other sort of specialty that I've sort of learnt and used in the time here at EMF.
Good. Well, I'll put all the links into Brett's accounts on the show as well, because this will be on YouTube and on Spotify. And even though I'm the only one who's been sipping on this, just so you guys don't think I'm rude and I didn't bring one for Brett, he's got one too. So cheers, brother. Appreciate your time and your time here at EMF and being part of the team. And we'll catch up with you again before the end of the month. But
thank you, brother.
You're a legend, my man.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Don't be used as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up.